I'm really privileged today to be with someone that's been a big part of my life. When you're with somebody that you've known for 46 years, and friendship has a way of turning into brotherhood.
It does.
And brotherhood has a way of turning into family to do this. So I'm Leo Pusateri here, spending some quality time this morning with my very dear friend, my brother Bob Daugherty, and really talk about some of the principles of a new program that we're launching out in Arizona that we affectionately call the Sabbatical Experience. And so, Bob, I was pumped to see you because every time we're together, we seem to be building and having some fun with each other and things. And I was thinking about, your life, knowing you from 73, literally. I mean, rewind our clock here.
1973.
1973. I mean, how many people are probably even watching this video, maybe not even be that old to do this, but seeing your career take off from 77, Cooper's Librand to Price Waterhouse to reaching the age of 55 after literally 33 years of working. And as you said, being on this rocket ship, we're going to talk about that. So I'm curious for the folks listening today, what was that ride like for you? I want to talk to you a little bit about your story. What got you to this seat where you're at right now today after literally almost a decade of walking away in a reflection and renewed personal introspection about your life and the difference that you can make in the lives of others. It's a fascinating, compelling story. What's your story? How would you lead into this thing in terms of that ride that you were on?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
In beautiful Buffalo.
You got it. We are in beautiful Buffalo.
Beautiful spot to be. You forced me to think about that story a little bit more than maybe I have in a long time. And as I reflect on it, we talked about the Rocketship.
Yeah.
And at PwC, as like with a lot of companies, I was a partner at PwC, and you're literally 24/7, trying to fire out and take that rocket ship as far and as high as it can go. And as I reflect on it now, that rocket ship was built on a selfishness, a selfishness of how significant can my wealth be, how good can my career be.
Yeah.
And something happened on the way to Mars, maybe, or Moon, or wherever I was going to go in the rocket ship. There were some life events. Mm-hmm. Everybody has life events. Everybody. It's your story. It's my story, right? You have a story. I have a story. You have a story. And for me, there was 2 life events that were of significance that made me have to take a stop.
Yeah.
It's like being on a 24-hour track at Le Mans, and you have drivers coming in and out of the car. But I was the driver for 24 hours all the time. And although I thought I was doing something for my family, when I took the stop, the pit stop, I started to think about exactly where was I. And those 2 life events were my brother died of melanoma, a deadly disease, and a very good friend of mine, literally within a month of that, died of a heart attack at the age of 52. I didn't immediately stop, but I took some perspective. And perspective, I think, starts, Leo, with getting into your heart.
Yeah.
Honestly, getting into your heart and saying intentionally, where am I? Where am I?
Yeah, you know what? And it's funny, your rocket ship, because I was there. I was at your brother's funeral. I remember distinctly what was going on at that point in your life and things like this. And I felt like one of those guys, when you were at Le Mans, when you were on the racetrack, I felt like one of those guys at the pit stop every now and then. We were trying to get together and have some fun from our college days, get the hoops back out, things like that. I was one of those guys, putting that lug nut on the tire or something, and there goes Bob again.
No time.
And I was living on that carousel myself.
You were.
It's funny because the lives we were leading in our careers, you were on your rocket ship, I was on mine. Call it a carousel, call it a race. Neither one of us could slow down, although our families were taking off. We have unbelievable devoted wives, 3 kids, 4 granddaughters.
Right.
3rd grandson on the way with my 2 granddaughters. Life took off on the 2 of us.
It did.
To do this, in this time out, in this self-awareness, but it hits you.
It did.
At a certain point, it's like, bingo, you got an opportunity.
It was like that car hitting
Yeah.
a brick wall.
Yeah.
I mean, just hit the wall.
Your Daytona 500 never ended. The 500 miles, you stayed in the car. Everybody said, hey, we're done. Finish race. But you kept, and I was driving probably my own car right near you.
But I was going to say, Leo, I don't think we're that unique.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think we're that unique. I think that there's people like-mindedness like us who frankly are good living people that just lose track. There becomes some distortion in their life.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's a bad thing, but what is a bad thing is if you don't begin to take the stop.
Yeah.
And grab some perspective. And for me, quite frankly, what I came to the conclusion on was that there was nothing left at that moment at PwC, and I had 5 years before I had a mandatory retirement. There was nothing left for me at that point to really accomplish. I felt like I had accomplished the things I wanted to and needed to. But all that I learned, all the skills that I'd been given, I felt like this was a chance to take the rocket ship someplace else.
Yeah.
And the question was where?
Yeah. It's funny, while you were figuring out how to stop and you realized something needed to change, it was impacting me in my own way as well, my life events, losing my brother, dealing with my own cancer, stuff that was going on as I was continuing to try to build my entrepreneurial enterprise and things. In my stop, and what brings us here together to talk about this today, was the personal introspection that led to the launch of this sabbatical experience. And all of a sudden, Bob, these things crystallized to me that we've talked about. Are we living a life of significance? We make a meaningful difference in the lives of others, beginning with ourselves. It's got to start with us, right?
Right.
Second, are we living a life of no regrets? If we had a life backpack on right now with those rocks, you start thinking, what are we carrying around that we should be getting rid of? And what are the things we want to do, right? That was the second point. Third point was this concept that I was thinking about was like, am I really utilizing the abundance in my life? Yeah. My time, your time was on that rocket ship at PwC. My time has been serving clients all over the world as well in the global wealth management space. And I'm looking at my time and my talents and my treasure that I'm starting to accumulate like you did after all these years. What am I doing with this stuff in a way to help others? And then the concept of slowing down and thinking about gratitude. My gosh, all these little things that we've got, just our health right now, thank God, our kids, our family, our wives, our friends, our things in our life that we haven't smelled these flowers enough, things like this, right? That you look at them, you don't smell it, you don't feel the fragrance, it's not coming to us. And then abundance turned into gratitude, and then gratitude was like, well, am I doing what I need to do to be my best? Am I taking care of myself? I want to make a difference in the lives of others. Am I doing what I need to do to change or to act, to be able to do this? And ultimately, I'm thinking about my next 5 to 25 years in terms of my own legacy. And am I doing something transformative now that would make a difference now when I'm long gone, hopefully 50 years down the road? So we talk about significance and regrets and abundance and gratitude and perspective, being your best in living your legacy. Which one of those jumps out at you right now? What's hitting you right now?
I think honestly, I think the sabbatical project is a gift for people. I really believe that. And the reason why I say that is because it is very, very difficult to create a moment in time to have perspective and self-awareness. Great leaders have tremendously good self-awareness as to how they affect others. But this is about how you, are affecting your entire universe of what's inside your life. Right? That's self-awareness. And there's no doubt in my mind that the kinds of people you're attracting to the sabbatical project are making significant impact. But there's also no doubt in my mind that the richness of what it could become could be so much more. And I got to tell you something, Leo. I've now been out of PwC for 9 years. And as you know, I've been the chair of the board of our institution, our university. I've had some of the most impactful, meaningful moments in my life. And believe me, I've had a lot of them in my career. A a lot of them in these last 9 years. And the beauty of it is, I'm stepping down as the chair of the board right now at this moment, and I'm thinking about where's my next rocket ship. I'm looking for the next rocket ship.
Yeah.
And believe me, I have a ton of energy. This journey is just beginning for me. But the richness of it now, and when I think about no regrets, I'm worried that, I gotta just give me a little bit more time. I want to keep on making an impact, a genuine impact. We will make impact.
Yeah.
They will make impact.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
What do you tell those people, though, that they say their motor's still running, which maybe they're at the age you left, and maybe they're in that age range where they say, I still got some fuel in the tank.
Yeah, you know what?
At what point do they start to think about that transition?
Yeah.
To elevate their thinking, to start thinking more about the personal introspection rather than just the business introspection that they're constantly doing day in and day out.
Well, think of it like this, Leo. Think of it like you're literally in that Le Mans racetrack, and it's a 24-hour race. You're going around and around the track as fast as you can, and all of a sudden, immediately, instantaneously, you stop. And I got to tell you something. At that moment in time, without having had the process that we're going to give people today, okay, at the Sabbatical Project in beautiful Arizona, I was lost for a while. I was lost because my motor was running hard.
Yeah.
And I had nowhere to leap off to. We're giving people a framework, a way of thinking about, okay, let me just take a little bit of a diagnostic here. Let me get the perspective, the self-awareness, the increased sensitivity to where I am today. And then when we do that, then all of a sudden their plan starts to take motion. Their plan, in terms of where do I make the impact? Where is that for me? Where life is significance, gratitude. Who should I be thankful for? Where? How?
Yeah.
I hadn't given back anything. I was taking. I hadn't given anything back.
Yeah.
But so for me, everybody's got their own story again. I'm going to go back to it. It's a customized personal story. You're not trying to force something on someone. You're trying to give them the chance, the gift, to take a moment to step back.
Yeah.
And to think.
Yeah, in the conversations we've had so far, when I talk to people like-minded to us and other folks in their walk of life, it's invigorating and yet riveting in a different way, Bob. And people are saying how they've had their head in the sand, or in some issues that I've seen, whether it's career, or it's health, or it's personal relationships, or just about the inner thinking themselves about their future. Sometimes you need to be hit by a 2x4. These life 2x4s hit you sometimes. Sometimes people need to throw some water in your face. And when you get somebody that says that they felt that the earth was shaking below their feet, and they're trying to figure out what's next for them, the sabbatical principles are designed for us to talk together, to be collaborative, to explore and to coach each other. So people that are considering doing this thing, it's not just you coming out there to be a participant. It's for you to be listening and to be asking, wait a minute, time out. It's like I always said, people have an imaginary zipper on their chest, and that we need to be able to unzip that professionally, respectfully, to reach in, because within someone's heart and deeper within their soul, there's some stuff keeping people up at night right now. And you've gone through this, and you're at another inflection point right now in your life.
Right now, I am.
I know you are right now.
Right now.
Because as you're transitioning out of chairmanship and literally turning something around, this is hitting you again right now.
The beauty of this, Leo, to me, is having like-minded people of significance sitting in a room and opening up and beginning to share. And as you said, coach one another.
Yeah, that's big.
Coach one another. This is a gift, and I got to tell you, as I've said this to you a number of times, I'm a much better manager today. I'm a much better person today. I'm nowhere near what I think I can be. All right.
Well, but use the word leader too.
I'm a much better leader. I'm a much better leader. And I think I pray for people that they don't have to go through life events to have this hit a wall.
Yeah, it's 2x4s.
You don't need to lose a brother to melanoma. You don't need to have cancer in your life. You don't need to have your wife have cancer. You don't need to have those things to say, whoa, let me just take 4 days to begin to get this figured out.
Yeah.
Okay? I do a lot of executive coaching, a lot of it. And the framework you've laid out is magnificent. Is magnificent to begin to set this agenda. I'll call it a life agenda.
Yeah.
A life agenda as they move forward, right?
Sure.
And so to me, the beauty of that and what you've established for people to come in, and I honestly believe it's a gift. I really do. It's a gift.
What about you? Since all the coaching it's not just the time, but it's the ongoing coaching. It's the reinforcement, sustainability. What's been your experience there, and why that's so important?
I think
for people to not just think about hopping on a plane and coming out to one of the finest introspective areas, looking at mountains and peaks, and
it's a beautiful place.
Invigoration.
It's a gorgeous.
But I'm talking about when they leave as well.
Yeah.
What's your thinking on that?
Yeah, I have a lot of thought about that, Leo, because as you and I know, we've been to a zillion seminars, and what happens is people leave there with this euphoria. They've got this, they've got new friends. They've got in this particular case, a cohort of like-minded people, and all of a sudden, what happens is they go off into the life. They get back in the rocket ship, and what we're going to do for them is we're going to create a chance to create a sustainable framework through coaching mechanisms of high-quality coaches to work with them on what they want to do customization-wise to create the sustainability, to make the impact. Because we know it's sort of research. We know that if we can make it stick within the first 12 months, it has sustainability for the lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to begin to do for them.
You put your hands on my shoulders a few years ago after a nice steak dinner in New York City.
Yeah, I did.
And after beating me up and listening to some of my lows at the time, some inflection points in my business career as well, and you said, Leo, I don't really care that you've listened to what we've talked about today. He said, I want to know what you're going to act on. What are you going to act on? You said it 3 times, as you intensely do at times. What are you going to act on? So to the people listening to us today, it's important, whether or not the sabbatical is right for them, I hope it is.
I hope it is too.
But it's most important for them is what they are going to act on. Hopefully we've given them some things to think about. And I want one last thought for you.
Please.
I want you to think and rewind the clock back. 1973, 46 years ago. Freshman basketball.
When you hooked me.
When I hooked you.
When you hooked me.
My team won the freshman basketball tournament. When I took you to the hole.
You did.
To do this, and we scored.
Never forget it in my whole lifetime.
Don't ever forget that.
Never forget it, man.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.